Well, let's start on this cartouche. Draw a card. Oh yeah, folks, it's all coming together. Greetings, everyone. I am glad to be here, and I am glad that you are here. It is time for another edition of our budget series where we try and make decks here on Arena that are at least relatively competitive while using as few rares as possible. And I have yet to use a single mythic. Today's deck will be a deck that does include 4 rares, and you really can't build this deck without the 4 rares. So we're going to start there. If you just can't justify the purchase, well, I understand. But darn it, this is the engine of the deck. We are, of course, playing auras, more regularly known in the Magic community as boggles. That is a reference to the Magic card Slippery Boggle, or Bogle. There is some controversy in the community depending on its pronunciation. I'm not sure which. But it's a creature that has hexproof. It was a 1/1 creature for 1 that has hexproof. So you could pile as many auras on it as you wanted. And it really created a really powerful deck that was difficult to interact with and influenced people's perception enough to start referring to the auras archetype as boggles specifically. You'll note there are no actual boggles in this deck. Darn it, his Slippery Boggle is not in Historic yet. But the card that does make this deck work is Core Spirit Dancer. For white and 1, you get a 0/2. Whenever you cast an aura, you may draw a card. Okay? In addition to that, though, Core Spirit Dancer gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. So, think like Angelic Gift. Enchanted creature gains flying. It doesn't give any stats. The creature doesn't get any bigger, it just gets flying, right? Yeah, but Core Spirit Dancer gets +2/+2 for each aura. So, just putting the Angelic Gift on it makes it grow. But if you put, I don't know, Sentinel's Eyes on it, it gets +1/+1 in Vigilance. Now it's getting +3/+3 just for the 1 aura. If we can really pile them on there, holy cow, folks, we can end the game in a hurry. And it is a very, very powerful card that does very powerful things. Unfortunately, it being a rare is justified and unavoidable in this case. Could the deck be built without it? Technically. It would be infinitely worse. I mean, we're talking about huge order of magnitudes worse without Core Spirit Dancer. There is, if you were going to be like, yeah, well, I have actual 0 rare wild cards, so I'm gonna build it however I stinkin' please. Fine. That's acceptable as well. I would replace it with probably like a 2/2 split of an evasive creature, so something with flying or something like that, and maybe a couple more auras of that variety. But I really don't recommend it. Darn it, invest the 4 rare wild cards here and you will be able to accrue wins. No question about it. Okay, but beyond that, what are the contents of the rest of this deck? Well, it's very, very low to the ground. Yes, we still have 20 lands, and honestly, you can get away with fewer as your collection develops and as you are able to acquire more and more cards that make this thing easier. The problem is, the next best place to go with this would be blue-white auras. And for that, you really need the rare lands. I'm sorry, it's just, darn it, it is what it is. This deck can be built with no rare lands in monocolor, and it is not as good. But it's not as good by a little bit instead of not as good by a lot, right? So for just a small investment of 4 rare wild cards, we can get the vast majority of the way there, recognizing you're giving up a few percentage points just by not having a fully optimized list, which you would need a lot of rare wild cards for. All right, so to the rest of the list here. Core Spirit Dancer, 2/2 for each aura, draw a card for every aura, right? That's cast. Notably cast, not comes into play. So you always draw the card, even if the card gets counterspelled. Okay, so what are our auras? Well, that is going to be over in this area. Oh, darn it. Gotta do this first. The client doesn't like that. All right. Zoop, zoop, zoop. All right. So the deck is really in 3 parts. The engine, the core of the deck, Core Spirit Dancer. And then the Aura Suite, which is over here. Cartouche Solidarity gets +1/+1 at first strike. When it enters, you get a 1/1. Pretty nice. The 1/1 does have vigilance as well. That can matter if you end up piling auras on the 1/1 because they kill whatever creature you put the aura on in first place. The vigilance helps. Sentinel's Eyes gives a creature +1/+1 in vigilance. Again, vigilance being able to attack and block when you have a really, really big creature can help you a lot in creature matchups. Angelic Gifts gives your creature flying and notably draws a card. That is very important in this deck. Obviously, the best place for Angelic Gift to go is on Core Spirit Dancer, because then it also adds stats. But just giving evasion to, maybe like I say, you piled it on the warrior creature token that came afterwards, or you have to put it on All Seed of Life's Bounty or Selfless Savior. Being able to attack with evasion, very, very important. But if you are in a situation where you're kind of having subpar draws, drawing the extra cards is very, very important. Notably, this is a draw too if Core Spirit Dancer is on the battlefield, and darn it, we really want Core Spirit Dancer on the battlefield. But okay, so these are our less powerful auras, but quality role players. The next auras are the more powerful cards in the deck. All the glitters get enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. So it is an enchantment. Your creature will always get +1/+1 even if there's nothing else out there. But notably, All Seed of Life's Bounty is also an enchantment. All of these are obviously enchantments, and you're drawing cards for enchantments, meaning you draw into more enchantments. This will often be giving, at least +3/+3, +4/+4, sometimes even more. On top of the fact that it can gain stats if it's going on Core Spirit Dancer. This can make your creature very, very large indeed. And holy cow, very, very powerful card. And then the last one is Face of Divinity. For 3 mana, you get enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Okay. As long as another aura is attached to enchanted creature, it has first strike and lifelink, folks. This deck's bread and butter is going to be against other creature decks. Think mono red style things, like mono green decks, stuff like that. That's where you're going to want to be. Those are the decks you're going to want to face. You're not going to want to face control and stuff. Darn it. They're just going to be sweeping your board away. They're going to be spot removaling your Core Spirit Dancers, things like that. You don't want to face those. But as long as you're in creature matchups, darn it, First Strike and Lifelink are so powerful. The Lifelink helps you in the race. The First Strike makes sure you're winning in combat. Very, very powerful card for the low cost of 3 mana. It is the most expensive card in our deck, but I do think it's worth it at least in the budget build. Okay, and then on the other side, this is our Creature Suite and Protection Suite, which is the only card that doesn't actually qualify as both is Healer's Hawk. It is just a place to pile auras, but it has evasion, it has lifelink. It's a very good place for your auras to go. Particularly when, like, turn 1, Healer's Hawk, turn 2, like, Sentinel's Eyes, Cartouche, you're attacking with a 3/3 flying, lifelink, vigilance, first strike. Like, holy crud, that's a powerful magic card, right? You would only do that in certain situations. You will likely need to be leaving up protection, but darn it, it can happen, and I think the possibility of it happening is probably worth it to have it here. But our protection suite also very important. When you are putting, let's say you have a Core Spirit Dancer down, you've enchanted it with 3 or 4. Now you have like 4 cards invested on this one creature. It's going to be whatever, a 7/9 or an 11/12 or 11/13 or something like that, right? It's going to be a big creature. Your opponent just goes, okay, Murderous Rider, cast down, eliminate, It is a 2-power creature, so, you know, it could be, you know, there's just a million different removal spells that could all happen, and darn it, you just go, oh, I lose then? And your opponent goes, yeah, you lose, right? You know, so no, we don't want that to happen. So we have lots of different protection cards here. Notably, Selfless Savior. Give another creature first strike, or I'm sorry. Notably, Selfless Savior. Another target creature gains Indestructible for sacrificing it. So you can sacrifice Selfless Savior and protect whatever other creature has your auras. And All Seed of Life's Bounty. Pay 1, sacrifice All Seed of Life's Bounty. Target creature or enchantment you control gains protection from the color of your choice. So notably, this can protect your other enchantments as well. So if you've got all the glitters, giving your creature plus, you know, 6/6, and your opponent goes, okay, kill all the glitters? No. Give it protection. Or, most regularly though, it's going to be protecting your creature. Gains protection from the color of your choice. You should be aware. Protection from the color of your choice, if you have to give protection from white, will erase all of the auras on that creature. Don't make this mistake, darn it. It will burn you. But you can give it protection from green, red, black, or blue without any problems here at all. And very, very strong. The last card in the deck I'd like to talk about is just Karametra's Blessing. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. If it's an enchanted creature or enchantment creature, it also gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. So, another way of protecting your stuff, if your opponent goes, okay, Murderous Rider, you can Karametra's Blessing in response. Murderous Rider no longer kills your creature. But also importantly, if your opponent goes, okay, Wrath of God or Shatter the Sky or something, destroy all creatures, protecting it from that color doesn't save it, but darn it, Indestructible does. So you can still save your really big creature, or even just your core Spirit Dancer, even if it's not big or something, with Karametra's Blessing or Selfless Savior in that instance. So I've gotten long-winded here in the deck tech, trying to make sure you understand how to use this deck before we take it out for a spin, but let's see how it plays, darn it! I'll see you out there. All right, folks, here we are up against Marvel. Good luck, Marvel. And yeah, I think we can keep this. It's not amazing or anything. We don't have any protection spells or any of that stuff, but we have an aggressive game plan here. And that is definitely a good thing to have. So, turn 1 Healer's Hawk. And then we'll pass to Marvel and hope that, yeah, that Marvel's on something like Red or something. But doesn't have a turn 1 burn spell for our Healer's Hawk. That would be good. Our life gain strategy here, very, very good in certain matchups. Basic Forest into Stonecoil Serpent pass. Alright, well, that's not going to stop our Healer's Hawk, because it's going to get +1/+1 and first strike. And then just for the sake of being able to go around our opponent, we're going to diversify our auras. Our opponent could have some way of removing our Healer's Hawk. Normally you want to kind of pile them on, but oh boy, that's a good one. That is a good one. Alright, Core Spirit Dancer, go on ahead. And, opponent going to have a bit of a difficult time here. I assume this is 1/1 counter stuff? Okay, sure. Yep. Going to try and destroy a cartouche. It's the one on the ground creature. Alright. Well, let's start on this cartouche. Draw a card. Oh yeah, folks, it's all coming together. So then we're going to draw another card and give this creature first strike and lifelink. Sure. Damage is dealt. All right, folks. Now we've just got to get through one more hit with either the Healer's Hawk or the Core Spirit Dancer. All right, well, it looks like our opponent's going to be on all chumps this turn, I do believe. Because, of course, we are going to all the glitters, Healer's Hawk, draw a card. Oh, it's another Core Spirit Dancer. Okay. Feels good, man. But then we're just going to get in with everybody. Both of these creatures are individually lethal, so they both need to be blocked. We're going to deal 3 damage right past our opponent's creatures there. And yeah, I guess we won't commit the other Core Spirit Dancer to the board. It is very, very unlikely they have board sweepers like Wrath of God or something like that. But with our opponent being at 3, we've got a very, very oppressive board state. They've got to have a whole bunch of questions answered here. And I'm not sure. Okay. I mean, yeah, we're going to obviously not block. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. Oh, hey, here we go. Well, I guess that was a little bit BM because we still had the Healer's Hawk that was lethal, so that was not polite of us, I guess. But darn it, I wasn't thinking about that. Either way, good game, Marvel, folks. The deck did exactly what you wanted it to do. Holy cow. Feels good, man. Feels good. All right, folks, here we are back again. And we're up against nerds. Good luck, nerds. Yeah. This hand is pretty good. Still don't have a Core Spirit Dancer, and we like to have those whenever we can. But that's all right. Opponent goes Forest Gilded Goose. I wonder if this is like just mono green food style stuff, or if this is okay, yeah. All right. Well, Cartouche. Yeah. And Sentinel's Eyes. And we're going to get in. For 3 damage, first strike and lifelink, folks. Our opponent likely to take it. They do, in fact, do the thing. And we pass. Our opponent receives the turn. Makes a Forest as the play and gets down Questing Beast. All right, annoying. Gonna get in with a Questing Beast. We will not block. Thank you very much. We drop to 19. All right, yeah, well, let's go ahead and all the glitters and get in for 7 first strike lifelink damage. Opponent blocks with Questing Beast. Maybe they didn't realize it had first strike. They could have blocked with the 1/1 there, and that would have accomplished the same purpose. But yeah, they may not have realized it had first strike, and they were expecting to be able to trade, right? Either way, not great for our opponent anyway. And they scoop it up. Yeah. Folks, that's a pretty untenable situation for our opponent, and I don't blame him. That's a bad spot to be in. Either way, good game, opponent. Good game. It was an honor. All right, folks. Yeah, we're on the play. We're 100% going to keep this. This is a very, very strong hand. We're going to lead on Selfless Savior. Next turn, we're going to get a Core Spirit Dancer. And then start being able to draw cards. Yeah. 1 damage coming on in. Oh, boy. Well, let's Angelic Gift on the Core Spirit Dancer, draw a card. It's another angelic gift. And Gross Profit scoops them up. They're like, no, actually, no. We're fine. We're done here. And I don't blame them for that decision. Good game, opponent. Good game. Fair enough, folks. Yeah, we're going to keep this. I would not say that this is an amazing hand or anything. We really do like to start with a 1-drop in this particular deck. But darn it, the Core Spirit Dancer is certainly the strongest card in our deck. Oh, hey, look at that. Well, you know what? Let's do this anyway. Because our opponent could be running counterspells. If they're running counterspells, this Core Spirit Dancer could just die. And we would not want that. Well, it wouldn't die. It would just get counterspelled, right? Like, darn it. You know what I meant, darn it. All right, all Seed of Life's Bounty. Enters. All right, well, let's Cartouche of Solidarity. Draw a card. Yep. Make a 1/1. Get in for 3. We are, of course, going to leave all Seed of Life's Bounty and Karamitra's Blessing available. Don't want to just spew them off. Opponent goes bottom with the cards. And we pass the turn. All right, opponent gets a Glacial Fortress and passes. All right, our turn. Well, let's Angelic Gift. Will the opponent counterspell this? It's another Core Spirit Dancer. That's very good. Okay, they don't counter it, so we draw another card yet. It's an All That Glitters, which we really do want. Let's see. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 4 plus 4, so that would be 11, 12, 13. Yeah, no, I don't think we want to do that, though, still. Because this wouldn't be lethal anyway, and next turn we have a pretty good shot at lethal. Okay, I mean... Okay. Yeah. Opponent blocks the All Seed of Life's Bounty and passes. Seal away. We are going to give it hexproof. All right. All the glitters. Draw a card. All Seed of Life's Bounty. And the opponent scoops it up. All right. Fair enough, folks. Fair enough. Good game, opponent. Good game. All right, folks. And we are back. Yeah, honestly, this deck it performed great. I have 0 complaints. If anything, we might have gotten a little lucky. I don't know, but darn it, holy cow, it crushed, and I don't have anything bad to say about it at all. As is our custom in this low wildcard series here, I try and give you guys an upgrade path for different directions you could take it as your wildcard collection develops. As I mentioned in the deck tech portion of the video, one of the most common places for this deck to go is blue-white. So why? Why blue-white? Well, most importantly, Curious Obsession and often Curiosity. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. You are dealing combat damage early and often, and it really helps you make sure you always hit your combo pieces. Make sure you find your Core Spirit Dancers and things very, very quickly. And these are only uncommons. The catch is you've got to have the rare lands. You really do. It's much worse if you're just on, like, plains and islands, you know? So I recommend waiting a little bit, but these are notably uncommon. So once you invest in some rare lands, you can go this direction. Arcane Flight also gives +1/+1 in flying for a single blue. Very strong. And notably, Staggering Insight. Darn it, folks. As soon as you get the rare lands, this card specifically, in my opinion, is the reason you would go blue-white, even over Curious Obsession or Curiosity. This would typically be like maybe even a 1 of or 2 of. This will probably be a 4 of. It is that strong. But Staggering Insight, slam dunk 4 of, and man, oh man, is it great. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and lifelink, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. It has everything you could possibly want, all of it. It gives you it all, still an uncommon, so very, very budget friendly. But again, I want to stress, don't go that direction until you at least have some of the rare lands. It really is going to make all the difference in the world. So I would start probably with mono white, just getting your core Spirit Dancers, get some of the rare lands first, then move into Staggering Insight, Curious Obsession, Curiosity, then, you know, probably Arcane Flight or whatever. Another direction you can go, as soon as you have a few more rare wild cards, is SRAM Senior Artificer. Whenever you cast an aura spell, draw a card. Just gives you more core Spirit Dancers. Darn it. It's legendary, so not quite as good, but it is also a 2/2, so it has better combat stats. It doesn't get the +2/+2 for each aura, but, you know, it's just fine. So at least as a 1 or 2 of, yeah, darn it, you can't go wrong. Most decks would even run the full 4 of both because it's so important. Very, very good for the upgrade path. The other one that's very notable is Lurrus the Dream Den. Many people just run, once you come out of this, a lot of people run fewer Karametra's Blessings, sometimes no like Sentinel's Eyes or Cartouches. Often the Cartouches do make it, but not always. And they'll have no Face of Divinity. So when they've replaced Face of Divinity with Staggering Insight, suddenly that you just get to run Lurrus as your companion for free, and then you get to cast the spells from your graveyard. It is a rare, so again, not a direction we took this time, but it is fine. Another option that we did ignore, it is a common, so pretty easy to get your hands on, and you might consider it. Glaring Aegis, when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature opponent controls. The enchanted creature, the creature we enchant, gets +1/+3. So for a single mana, it can definitely be worth it to help get their chump blockers out of the way for the turn and slam in. Its combat stats are underwhelming, so we didn't go that way, but it is an option I did want to mention. Okay, now we've moved past our recommendations. I do want to real quick mention a few cards that that newer players will often reach for in this style of deck, and I want to explain why you don't want them, okay? First of all, one of the cards that newer players will often reach for, that I believe you even get one in your starting collection in one of the starter decks, is Glorious Anthem. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Well, I mean, it's basically a creature aura, but it doesn't even have to go on the creature, so if they kill my creature, it stays around. I mean, that's true. It's notably not an aura, so you do not draw a card with Core Spirit Dancer. It also costs 3 mana, and we're trying to get really aggressive really early in the game, basically all 1s and 2s, with just the notable exception of the Face of Divinity. And how many creatures are you actually going to have? 2 creatures? Maybe 3 creatures? So the upside of this is it gives like +3/+3, but understand, you're not normally attacking with your other creatures. Normally those other creatures are going to be all Seed of Life's bounties to protect your aura creature or your Selfless Savior to sacrifice and put on there. So this typically a bad in this style deck, it's exclusively a bad decision. You really should not do this card. Another card, Idyllic Tutor, that you might have access to, and you will think, oh boy, we're an enchantment deck. Let's get Idyllic Tutor. Search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. You really shouldn't do this. It is very, very slow. Our auras are all replaceable. Even all the glitters, that is really, really powerful. And later on, when you get the Staggering Insight, really, really powerful. You want to see these cards every single game. Very, very top-notch cards. Still not worth it. Pay 3 mana? Do nothing. Okay, you get to find the card, and then it goes on, like, next turn or whatever. But darn it, we want to be killing our opponents, sometimes even as early as like turn 4 or something. If we get the right draw and we're just really going to town, you can kill your opponents on turn 4. So taking a whole turn off to go and search for a specific aura, just not worth it. You would really much rather have the core Spirit Dancers, and if you were going to do that, more SRAMs, more Staggering Insight, Curiosity, Curious Obsession stuff to just draw you more cards generically. And since you will draw so many cards in a stack, instead of having to go and find this one specific aura, no, you'll just find all the auras. Like, darn it, they'll just, yeah, you'll get that aura along with like 12 other cards because you draw so many cards in a stack. So this seems like it would be a great decision. It's a trap, and it's really not worth it. It's one of those cards where you will look at it and go, yeah, well, I won the game because of this Idyllic Tutor. It's true, but darn it, it's a trap. This card could be anything else, and you likely might have still won that game. It will mislead you and misrepresent what it's doing, and it will end up losing you more games than it wins, even when it feels like it was a home run the one time it did, right? So, yeah, you could, if it was me, if you wanted to do something else really powerful like this, find another really powerful enchantment or something. Don't go with Idyllic Tutor. I think it's a trap. The other thing you might consider is cards like Oblivion Ring or other enchantment-based removal like that. And it's not terrible having ways of interacting with your opponent. It's really not in the game plan, though. You want to be really low to the ground. Every card you want to draw is going to advance your game plan. You don't care what your opponent's doing. Darn it, I'm going to get you dead, right? It's defensible. You could do that. You could put some number of Oblivion Rings or Cast Outs or something like that. Seal Aways is another one that could work. I don't recommend it, though. I really don't. Because we want to be so low to the ground, at least early. If you're going best of 3, that's a little different. You can use maybe some of those in your sideboard or something for matchup-based situations. But even then, I wouldn't. That said, if you're going to, you could use Cast Out. Notably, each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less, so you can't use Lurrus as your companion if you have Cast Out. But when Cast Out enters, exile an online permanent, so it's basically, but it has flash, it's basically just Oblivion Ring for an extra mana, but notably, in this deck, you can cycle it away. So it's never just a dead card. If you were going to do that, I still, again, I don't really recommend it, but that said, those are my recommendations for now. Once you do go blue-white and you have the better lands and all that stuff, you can cut your land count down. Oftentimes people run as few as like 18 lands. I've even seen some lists with fewer, and you just mulligan really greedy, and you can get there. So I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I would like to cordially invite you over to my Twitch channel. That's what I do normally. 4 hours a day, 5 nights a week streaming from 6 to 10. I really appreciate you folks watching the video. You know, it's always an honor to be able to entertain you folks and hopefully inform you folks and help you folks out. So definitely, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. That really helps. The community engagement is what tells YouTube to recommend my video to other people. So if you're going to build this deck, tell me about it in the comments. And notably, also, if you're like, John, what are you thinking? You missed this card or whatever, some very important card, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even thinking about that card. Tell me down below, darn it. You will help other people that go to build this deck. Don't leave us all in ignorance. Tell me about it. Darn it, down in the comments below, and I really appreciate it. Either way, though, I will catch you all next time.